I ask you what you know about the club football team?
Not very much besides that we have one.
We have one. As we do in most sports, we have a club team
Yeah.
for football.
Not much at all. I honestly don't really know much. I know that it exists. I know that I could try out probably if I wanted to, but not really much about it.
No, I don't know anything.
I know that there are club sports teams.
Next to nothing.
So you can't name any players. You've never been to a game. You don't know anything about the records or anything.
No.
I haven't really been to any games or heard anything about it, and I don't think any of my friends have mentioned it to me either.
No.
Have you ever been to a club football game? We play over at Lincoln Field.
No.
No, never.
Nope.
I found out about the club team freshman year. I saw some flyers hanging up, and I thought it would be a great opportunity. But it wasn't until the following year that I had really decided to kind of commit myself and make it a thing.
I learned about it through a couple people actually doing the involvement fair. I happened to be walking through the oval. I seen the football helmets, seen the jerseys. I always wanted to play football here at OSU. Still trying to do that as of now. I got interested in it. It was a very competitive pad level. Everything was something I wanted to do. So I decided to sign up and join in.
I found out about club football over at the RPAC one day over the winter when they were having just an info kind of meeting, and D-line and coach were over there talking about the program.
I came to Ohio State 2 years ago and was just walking around the involvement fair, and I saw some football helmets out, so I went and talked to them.
I actually didn't hear about it from anyone. I looked into it myself. My roommates and I were talking one day, and they said, "Hey, man, you look like you miss football. You miss it so much. You have such a passion for it." They said you should look into if they have a club team, or maybe try to walk on, or just try to get back into it somehow. So I researched it a little bit. I came to a practice, loved it immediately, and I wanted to join right from the start.
I was just walking through the halls one day of class, between classes, and I saw a flyer that mentioned tryouts for the club football team. So I worked out, went to tryouts, showed up, and made the team. So the rest has been history.
Early in the season, I was 100% focused on coming back to Ohio State and playing. When I actually went to apply back to Ohio State, they were telling me I needed to take a couple more credit courses than I actually had anticipated on taking. So I just thought it'd be best for me to go to Columbus State, maybe for a semester or two. I started in spring of 2013, and I just ended up liking it a lot more than Ohio State.
Nick Black is one of the most talented players I've seen. He gives it his all. He shows up every day. Well, we can't really be salty about it because he's not playing for another team because he ditched us. He didn't get into school here. So You know, it's like, I guess if this was the NFL, then we just let him go and he's a free agent, went to another team. And, I mean, I wish him the best.
Everybody, you know, seemed to accept it as like a personal choice, but then there was a lot of people who did not like it. Personally, I wouldn't have liked it myself if somebody did it to me, but I mean, it was just a personal choice. It was a pretty emotional thing throughout spring, like when we had our 7-on-7 and actually in our first game of the season.
I'm pretty sure before that game, he probably talked to them saying, listen, even though these are college students, like, they also go ball. So so it wasn't just, he just typically turned his back on us. Like, he already knew what he was expecting. He did respect us as, you know, like as competitors. And us playing against him, we probably thought that, well, that's the only good player that he had, but he was mostly like the mind and heart of that team.
You know, Columbus State, they kind of started out as a ragtag program over there this year. I did not think that they were going to be as good as they were when we played them in that scrimmage.
A bunch of trash talkers, a bunch of people who, you know, they love football, but they don't want. A lot of them don't put in them as much work as needed, and that's just my opinion.
Well, that game was like, it was kind of like an inner city game, you know, more like, I guess bragging rights for the whole year.
I feel like on our end, we could have played a lot better than we played. Even though it was a tune-up game, a preseason game, we definitely could have played a lot better.
After our first game, I think you could tell that they're not a team to be taken lightly. They have talent. You know, it was a real close game that ended up with a 2-0 loss on a safety, but both defenses are tremendous.
I have to say, out of that game, we kind of learned, you know, we really can't misjudge teams out there, even though it's a preseason game or not, because they will always still hold that W over us, even this season coming up. And for them to still walk out there with the W, regardless of the score, it was kind of like a wake-up call, you know. Like, if that was a part of our record, it definitely would have burned.
I think you could develop a very healthy rivalry between Ohio State and Columbus State. Being in close proximity to a team breeds rivalry, because you never know if a guy is going to be playing for one team or the other the next year. You know, you might have siblings, you know, one on either side of the line. That just breeds a healthy relationship, but also a healthy rivalry.
Wait, so does this county has the standings at all?
No, it didn't even
It
go
doesn't
on
matter
our
though. A lot of people look fucking scared out today. This is football. Practice has been lackadaisical. Yeah, I know it's partially me. I don't go, like, I dick around, I'm not gonna lie. But we need to wake up. Who didn't come to play today? A lot of people, all right? Offense, you guys gotta step it up. All right? Defense gave up no points. Okay?
Doesn't mean anything now.
Truth hurts.
Got a lot to work on, guys. Let's go. Think about that during the week.
All right, we got a lot to work on too, but we still got 3 more practices before our first game. Whoever thought it was going to be a cakewalk, obviously you saw what happened, all right?
You think they're good? Just wait until we meet Coppin.
Yeah.
All right? You can't be playing like this during Coppin. You can't play like this during Miami of Ohio. So we got to get better. Thank God this is a preseason game.
Luckily it didn't count, but we all know what happened, okay? Got work to do. Got work to do. Everybody go over the game in your head. Think of what you can improve on. Bring it to practice tomorrow, all right? Bucks on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bucks!
Yeah, good throws today, buddy.
I think that, you know, the point of any preseason game is to kind of gauge yourself and see where the holes are in your squad and what you can do to make up for that in the time you have.
Well, after the Columbus State game, our offense really had to look at itself in the mirror, because obviously anytime you get blanked, there's some kind of an issue. After that, they decided that it would be best to try a different style offense, and I feel like that really set the tone for the season and the offense that we had.
I don't know. I'm guessing I'm that hard to work with or something. He really didn't explain anything to me. I don't know if it was because of what I said or what I did. You know, I had a meeting with James and Francis to the new office that they wanted to run. Asked him if he wanted to come and see, because he was the offensive coordinator. And the only message I got was, I don't want to coach anymore. And that was the last time I talked to him.
Having this kind of mix-up, I think it prepared us more, because we learned as a team, you know, how far everybody could be pushed. Everybody's limits were pushed, you know, people's buttons were pushed, and ultimately through that and staying focused, that's really what helped us when we played Robert Morris.
Started out slow. We didn't get going right away, but we started to click, I think, in the second quarter a little bit more. I remember Matt Taylor, our running back, broke off a big run, and that kind of got us going. That was our biggest play thus far, because we didn't really have many big plays in the Columbus State game.
We got a run game going, and that was huge. And you got to have balance on the offensive side of the ball. I know defense played outstanding. The defense played very well, and that's what kept us in the game.
I had my first touchdown pass in years in an actual game, and that got me going, gave me a little bit of confidence. And then to see, you know, the way the offense started to execute down the stretch against a very good team, I think that gave us confidence, gave me especially confidence going forward, that being my first actual game.
They were a good team. It was a close game. It was one of the best, I think, club games I've been in. It was a close back and forth game.
I have a lot of respect for TJ. Seeing him out in the field, and he's always excited, you know, picking guys up.
He got an interception, and right in front of me, I thought I was going to have a chance to get the interception, and he stepped up and got it. I saw they went undefeated afterwards. It makes us look pretty good, and it makes me feel pretty good. That was a good team.
It was a tough game. It was a hard-fought game. Robert Morris had some great guys, good athletes, good defensive line. You can definitely say that they gave us a hard time. It took a lot of effort from everybody on our team to give all of their effort to beat them, and I think that it was a close game, but it was two great teams that, you know, fought it out, and ultimately we wanted it more. We definitely showed that we could overcome adversity. We had a few weeks of, you know, pretty intense conflict in the team, within the team itself, and by beating them, it showed that, hey, you know, nobody can bring us down but ourselves.
They've got a lot of people on their team who talk a lot of smack and say they're the best, and it's nice to have something against them where it's like, hey, we beat you guys, so I don't know what you guys can say to us right now.
The Morgantown Showdown is basically a showcase game that gathered 6 teams. Play at one venue, have teams see each other, interact, see what each team's about.
It was a big showcase for us because the NCFA was tweeting about it. I think they were streaming it, or at least putting a lot of stuff out there. So it was a big chance where if we put our name out there, and maybe not even won, but we kept a close game with Coppin, people would know that we were the real deal and that Ohio State was back.
With club football, you think you'll get no recognition or anything, but I have heard that those games are actually played on the internet, I believe live or something like that. And that really helps shape what club football is altogether. A lot of people think you just go out here, BS around, and it's not serious. But I tell people every day, it's just like varsity. You go out here, put it on your pads, and you go out and you're hitting some people.
We wanted Coppin from last year, and they, last year they beat the snot out of us and caught us by surprise. We didn't know that they were that good. And we called them out this year. We said we want Coppin, give us Coppin, and we got Coppin.
I heard Coppin was big. I had seen off-season videos that Ryan Green had put up on the page where these guys have their own weight room and they have serious off-season workouts, and it is their school's team. Everyone was telling me, if you're gonna bring it one week, bring it Coppin week.
This season, I wasn't as impressed with Coppin. I think their biggest advantage was the size of players they had on their offensive and defensive line.
I felt like we didn't have a game plan going in. And we really didn't have a game plan going into every week, but we kind of had a basis where we knew that we'd be kind of throwing more, running more, whatever. But when we went into Coppin, we kind of went in blind, I feel like. When you can't see a team's film consistently, it's tough to get a good game plan together.
We got a couple good wins, and we went in confident. I don't think we went overconfident, but when we hit the field with them, and I think they were sort of shell-shocked, I guess I would say.
They effectively shut down our offense, which, if you don't have an offense, it's not much of a team. Defense, I was extremely impressed with. We multiple times forced turnovers. We gave our offense great scoring opportunities. I think we blocked multiple punts. There was interceptions, forced fumbles, fourth down stands. I think we brought a hard-hitting defense to a solid offense, but unfortunately we weren't able to pull out a W in that game.
This doesn't mean that we can't play in the national championship, all right? There's league games. Play them again. If we win all of our league games, we play them again, all right?
We beat Wright State, we beat Miami,
we can beat those other
Michigan,
teams.
we beat Oakland.
We can beat
in the
this
fucking
team.
Great Lakes Championship, all right?
All right, let's
Win
go.
that, we'll go on another piece. Let's go get it.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys all on Wednesday, all right? Let's go. All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're working on the goal.
Going in, I expected more out of Coppin State, I won't lie. National championship team, yes, they did beat us, but they weren't as good, or me personally, I didn't feel like they were as good as people hyped them up to be. I mean, we had some mistakes. Some people probably went in there scared. That could have been the reason we lost. And they scored twice off like a fumble and an interception. So, I mean, with that being said, I mean, the scorer might say one thing, but if you was there,
First off, we laid an egg. All right, we got shut out. We knew the defense was good. We knew the offense needed some work. But I thought we were good enough. We were good enough to beat Coppin State that day. We threw an interception, a pick six. The other 2 scores they had were on big plays, and that's the difference in the game.
Well, in the car ride home, I know James was in my car, and I think Bilek and Francis and a couple of the other guys were. We talked a lot about what was about to happen with this team, and from what I'd heard about the year before was after, I think it was the Coppin loss, a lot of people started quitting the team. And that scared me a little bit, but it was also kind of like, fine, you know, if you don't want to bring intensity and overcome adversity, you're no good to the team anyway. But we talked a lot about the rest of the season because we still had interconference play to go. We still had Wright State. We still had Miami of Ohio. We still had Flint. And those are what really mattered coming up soon. So we didn't get too down on ourselves. We decided to take it 1 week at a time from there.
My name is Bobby Mullen. I'm an inside linebacker for Loyola University of Chicago. I teach a couple group fitness classes. One's boxing and one's an all-abs class. It's a new experience for me because I've done personal training for 2 or 3 years now. So it's nice to work with a group environment, and it's interesting to get a different taste. Whereas like if on football, it's usually a lot more yelling and kind of more demanding of people. You're gonna do this and you're gonna do it correctly. In the group fitness class, it's more like, hey, here's the guidelines for how we're gonna run things. It's an interesting change of pace for me to try and change how I direct others and lead groups of people. My freshman year, I came in here 2011, and around September, October, there's a senior here. His name is Luke Chellie. He had an internship with some alumni of Loyola who played on the team that was here in 1970 and 71, who won the national championship that year. And then because money went out the door, they kind of closed the program down. And they talked to him how great would it be to have a football team again. So he posted on like the Loyola Class of 2015 page on Facebook. And I saw he posted like a football interest meeting at the IC, which is our library. And so I showed up, and from there we kind of just got things rolling. It was a long process to try and get all the paperwork in, and I assume it's the same with every school. You always get these hurdles thrown at you, and you kind of just got to take one step at a time. Between myself, Luke, and the alumni, the whole first year was basically ran between our group, and then our second year in existence, 2012, we implemented an executive board so that most of the weight's not on my shoulders because Luke's gone now, and we've been delegating work throughout them since. It's no coincidence, as my coach always says, they're all successful men. They're great connections to have, just the networking for outside of football as well. Like when I graduate, I could have jobs lined up through them. But they were great for the startup of the team because you get to call and be like, hey, we're not sure how we want to market this team. What's your advice here? Or what's field space do you know about Chicago that we can go and try and see if we can play there or practice there? And they have connections with everybody in the city. Like you would think we had a mob on the whole team just because they know everyone. Michael Dresnes is one of the guys on the team who's like the head. He's like, I guess he would be the president of like the alumni executive board, right? He emails all the alumni, and he set up things like you can fund a player. So if we have players who come in this year and don't have the financial, they don't have enough money to play, right? They can't play their player dues or buy equipment or cleats or whatever. An alumni might sponsor that player, and it gives much more opportunities for people to play. And they're just great to have behind us in case we run into any trouble. We can always email them or give them a phone call.
The bye week, I think, was a great timing. First of all, I think it allowed, obviously we had more time to practice for the next game, but also just to diffuse any negative emotions that players had from Coppin, because I think there was a lot of that.
One loss isn't going to take you out of the national championship, and we knew all we had to do was go to a conference championship game. We win our conference championship game, most likely we're going to the national championship.
I mean, it was simple. Went out. We still got to play the national runner-up in Miami of Ohio. So if we went out, we win our conference, we could still have a chance for a rematch against Coppin. Our mindset was just to go in, to work hard, and win every game.
We went into that game with a very hard-nosed mentality.
A lot of hitting, a lot of changes up on the offense. Defensive players actually came together. We talked on schemes of what should be done and what shouldn't be done.
When we played Ohio State, the guys were getting fired up during the week coming up to the game, because everyone's like, we're playing Ohio State, and we're going around our school telling people, playing Ohio State this weekend, and everyone's freaking out because one, we have a football team, and then two, we're playing Ohio State.
We went into that game, I think, pretty upset from what had happened with Coppin, and so we were definitely looking to make amends. And frankly, I believe we did.
We took a good group of guys down to Loyola, and we imposed our will. We played Ohio State football.
I think people were definitely intimidated walking out on the field.
James, Grega, and Brian Purvis were on point.
James, great passes, and it was Brian Purvis's day. Brian Purvis was the MVP of that game.
The Loyola game, by far, was the most fun I've ever had playing football. Without a doubt, it's the best game I've probably ever played.
2 touchdowns, a field goal, and 4 extra points. It's a lot of fun. Whenever James needed to, he could throw me the ball, catch it, and it seemed to be a touchdown each time. It was a fun game.
James Grega passed to number 82, Brian Purvis, for a Buckeye touchdown.
Defensively, we weren't prepared for the game to start. We were all heads in the clouds, no one's paying attention. No one's reading their keys. Had a lot of miscommunications on the field prior to the snap. People not fully understanding their jobs.
I think one of our players, Caelan, scored his first career touchdown, so that was cool. That was nice to see.
Well, that was the best game of the season, Loyola, because number 86, Caelan Allmon, had 1 catch for 25 yards and a touchdown, which ended up being my only reception of the year as a tight end.
I've seen Caelan day in and day out working very hard. He's a great player, a great leader, and he busts his butt every day. And to see him succeed definitely makes me just as excited as I think it makes him. And I think the whole team feeds off of those emotions.
Got in the huddle, and James had been promising me a touch since George Mason. And it just hadn't happened. I wasn't angry about it. Purvis was on the outside, I was on the inside. The play design was I was going to run a skinny post straight to the middle of the field and try and pull a safety in the corner and maybe a linebacker if I could. And Purvis was going to get the ball over the top and score, I think, his 4th touchdown of the day. The safety didn't. The safety went over to Purvis, and I beat the linebacker. And the second I looked up, there's a ball in my face mask, and it was the luckiest catch I had. I'd never touched a ball in a game or practice before this, so I really didn't know what to do, and I'm pretty sure I stopped running at one point. And I hear Ryan Barbary screaming across the field, "Run!" Next thing I know, he takes out a cornerback who was getting ready to tackle me, and I think I walked into the end zone for the rest of the 5 yards. And then I really wasn't sure how to celebrate, because I half wanted to be really, really excited and pull out a Sharpie and toss the ball to a fan. But the other half of me was trying to play it cool and just get the ball to the ref.
So we go into halftime, and almost immediately when we get into the locker room, there's a torrential downpour. Lightning strikes all over the field. So they tell us that, we're going to delay the game for a little bit. And I remember about 15 minutes into the delay, I started looking at guys on the team and said, hey, we got a 5-hour ride back home. We're obviously dominating this football game.
Between coaches and players, we said, hey, The weather's getting really bad, and we've got a long drive back to Columbus. So at halftime, we decided to call the game where it was.
Obviously, we want to play. We want to finish the game. We love the game of football. But at that point, to see those lightning strikes in the rain, we were ready to go home. And about a half hour, I think, into the delay, they finally called the game.
And so what you see is essentially the whole first half that was played.
We were somewhat concerned about where our offense stood at this point in the season. Throughout the course of this game, we kind of saw what our offensive potential was.
Yeah, we showed we bounced back from a tough loss. It showed that our team, wasn't just we're going to lose to Coppin, when we play them. It's no, we're going to bounce back from that. We're going to show that we're a better team than that.
And it was a breath of fresh air for this team as well. I think it was definitely something that we needed, just to kind of alleviate the past tensions from some of our prior failures.
And it almost made me angry. They put on their Facebook page after the game that the score was not indicative of the game. So I don't know what else it could be indicative of. I do have to say, though, thank you to the Loyola football team, because someone left their shoulder pads in the locker room and they were kind enough to mail them. So, thanks.
When we're playing against other club teams, you still don't know how you stack up against the Division III level of play, or Division II or Division I. You don't know where you fall or if you would even be able to compete.
It was a big game for us because I think you're playing an NCAA team. While it is a JV team, you're playing an NCAA sanctioned football team. And you're playing a team that practices every day, that goes up against varsity NCAA athletes.
Last year was a close game, even. And I think, from what I remember from last year, that was the most fun I had, was during that Denison game. And we ended up losing, and we did have a lot of players playing outside their position.
So I think you play that game with not a chip on your shoulder, but I think you put a little more into that game because you want to prove that while we are a club football team, we are athletic, we are a very good team. And I think we were able to prove that in that game.
There's some athletes that still got overlooked, and I feel like even during my high school, I was overlooked by a lot of schools, but at the end of the day, I knew I put my head down and did what I had to do, just like the rest of my teammates did. There's other athletes on this campus that can play at the next level, and just because you get recruited somewhere does not mean you're the best at, you're that good. I've seen athletes get recruited to some of the top schools in the nation, and you'll never hear from them again. Just because you get recruited don't mean anything.
I think it really legitimizes club football when we can put our athletes out against theirs and we can come up on top. It really shows that there are a lot of club teams who could do the same thing against Division III programs. They're there to play football. We're here just for school, and we happen to be involved in a club that plays football. So it's cool to go out there and be able to win against a team like that.
No practice tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
Practice Wednesday.
Hey, hey, from here on out, it's league games. We have to win our league games. The goal is to be champions. We need to win the next 4 games.
Next 4 games is honestly make or break the season. These are the 4 games that we need to win, right?
Who are we playing? What's the schedule?
Start off with Wright State, then we're playing Miami, then we're playing Oakland, and then Michigan.
Do we get?
Hey, quiet! Let's get out of here, all right? Break it down. Good job, Oak. Practice tomorrow.
We're gonna get Lambo.
1, 2, 3.
We know the upcoming games, these conference games, are really the ones that matter most.
We knew what we had to do. Conference play, that's where all the marbles come out. You know, you want to get as many points as you can out of each team, and you can't take a loss, no matter what. You know, if you want to get that W and want to go on to the national championship, you need to get the win, and that's by beating everybody up in your conference.
We were feeling good though. We beat a Denison D3 JV team, and our offense was rolling, and so I was feeling real good going into the Wright State game.
We had played them the previous year and barely squeaked out a win, at Wright State. And, they were very tough. So we knew that we needed all the preparation time we could get, and the bye week really helped everyone get on the same page and get ready to play Wright State.
How do I feel about one ref? I feel like mistakes were made. I'm not going to say on whose part, but mistakes were made. I feel like the refs should have known that they were here. Possibly club sports at the great Ohio State University should have gotten that together for us. But overall, mistakes were made. That's all I have to say on that.
These refs are really doing us dirty right now. It's not really the refs, it's the director of club sports who told them the wrong time. But they're doing us real dirty. We're going to hit someone today, though, and we're going for a pick 6. I got a real good touchdown celebration planned. It's going to be dirty.
Can you show it?
No. Absolutely not.
The refs were an hour late, so everyone, we were all getting ready to play, in our huddle, just ready to go, all pumped up, and then the refs don't show up. So we're just waiting. One ref shows up, waiting, another ref shows up. I mean, that's club football for you, the refs showing up at the wrong time.
It's not necessarily one person's fault. Next season, we really need to work on communicating with, Charles Anderson, our director of sports, of club sports, and then, the referees to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Finally, an hour later, all the refs are there, and we're hearing Wright State's gonna contest the game, saying the refs were late. So we just wanted to beat them. We just wanted to absolutely go out and smash them.
Wright State versus Ohio State. Check that scoreboard at the end of the game. See who's on top. Let's go! Woo! Let's go!
Yeah, so with that part being said, that did still kill me that the refs came late, because I thought we were going to have to forfeit that game, but thank God they came. And Wright State were actually pretty good and patient about the situation, so I'm happy about that as well. As far as that game went, I should say, I thought Wright State would be a way better team than what they were.
It was a fun game. I mean, it wasn't as intense, because once you're up by so much, it's really not as much fun. I mean, a win is a win, but close wins those are what make memorable experiences.
The offense really shoved the ball down their necks, should I say. They showed a lot of a power game. We had all our running backs. I think we went 3 deep that game. We just kept running the ball at them. We'd get 5 yards chunk, we get a 15-yard. We do a play action pass, get 20-yard pass play. When someone makes a mistake, we're going to be there to pick up fumbles. We're going to be there to make the interception. You know, you throw a bad ball, there's going to be bodies there. You hold the ball too long in the pocket, we're going to sack the quarterback. I mean, an offense has to play well to move the ball against us.
Defense did great. Offense did real good in that game. Special teams, that was just an all the way around win. There was no game past that.
E, you want that defensive player of the week, don't you? Full, man. You ain't full. It's only the second quarter.
Yeah! There you go, D-line! Woo!
Trying to make that tackle right here, I jumped into him and I bounced off. How high were you when you jumped into him?
You were pretty high. Well, Steve, I mean, you could jump into a lot of people and bounce off.
A guy your size has to go
What
back.
time's the first?
In case it happens again, you're allowed to run once you catch it. Oh. Hey, he froze up. Hey, he froze up. Coach, what do I do with the ball? What do I do with it?
I could be the color commentary guy. Like, the guy that describes the play, I'd be the funny guy.
I understand the value of
See,
injury
three
induced,
and
but
That is someone's child right there.
I'm not trying to hear that.
I mean,
because let me tell you something.
He's got parents out there.
What would Urban
If we
do?
get on the 5-yard line, can I run in there?
Urban would put the stamp on it.
B,
Give me a few million, and I'll score.
Let's go! Yeah!
Turnovers, I'm not happy about that, but I think we've been pretty good putting up 49 points. But we got some things to clean up before we get ready for Miami next week. 6-1.
I never felt comfortable quite yet. You know, I knew Miami was an away game, so I mean, I didn't know if everybody was going to travel. That's just the human nature of club football.
Miami of Ohio hadn't played many football games coming into the game with us, but they had won every single one. They were talented, and we knew we were going to play on a big stage, a Division I football stadium. We were excited. We were amped to go play that football game against a very talented Miami of Ohio team.
When we go in to play Ohio State each year, we mark it on our calendar as a big game. It's an in-state rivalry. Ohio State is, the premier school in Ohio, and as a result, they have a premier club team in Ohio. How we play in that game against Ohio State is going to determine the rest of our season. There's no doubt the practices get more intense. There's more focus, just as a rivalry game would be expected.
Miami is a really well-coached football team. They're not going to blow you away with their speed, but they do not make mistakes. Miami didn't make versus us. They were very basic. Their defense did nothing spectacular. They just played what they were supposed to play.
I'm pretty sure we was probably the top 5 defense in the nation. Our defense has been solid. We shut them down. We made big hits. We made big plays. Our goal was just stopping them. If we prefer to stop them, not at the line of scrimmage, but before the line of scrimmage. If we could get them for a loss, that's perfect. Like a yard after that line of scrimmage, it wasn't good enough.
in our specific game, whether it be our defense or their offense, I think we played very well on defense, and I'm not so sure they had the best offensive game, and I think that contributed greatly to the outcome of the game.
The defense played lights out in that game. As an offense, we didn't perform at all. We didn't perform very well at all, but there were two big key plays in that game that really kind of sealed our fate. First, there was a bad snap on a punt that I believe that Miami recovered inside the 5 and ultimately was able to punch it in for the first score of the game. And then I threw a costly interception over the middle that they were able to return down in the red zone and capitalize on. So right there, we handed them 2 scores. Our defense really only surrendered 1 touchdown drive. And obviously we got a touchdown late in the game, I think with under a minute to go. That ultimately I think would have tied the football game. We were eventually able to put a drive together. Unfortunately, it was too little too late.
The season's not over. We still have a lot of games left, a lot of football left to play, so it's still something to look forward to. Don't get down on yourselves. They're a good team, all right? We knew that coming into it. They ran hard, played good defense, played good offense, but we played into a hell of a game, all right? So bring your breaks out.
Hold on. Defense, I gotta give props to you guys.
Yeah, we owe you guys.
Yeah, we gave it to you in 2 shitty situations, and you really only gave up 7 points in my opinion. So, props to you guys. Offensive working on it. Our apologies, I guess.
Yeah, kudos defense.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I don't know about you.
You guys played like a championship team.
Hell yeah.
Ice up. Everybody's sore. All right? Get healthy.
Watching our team once again going from 2, going down, it really did hurt our spirits. It really hurt our chances for getting back into the championship race. I mean, at that point, a 2-loss team winning that championship game, that's unheard of. That would never happen. It definitely was like another wake-up call, but it was just too late to wake up from it.
Well, we came ready to play. We came trying to beat Oakland, trying to get back on track and try to win games, but now we can't because there's no officials. So it sucks.
There was problems between us and Rec Sports from Ohio State, and we didn't get the referees figured out. There was no backup referees to call.
I'd taken over scheduling referees in the last 3 years, I think it was. Pretty much what happened, we showed up to a game, we saw the officials that the club had. A couple of the guys were older, couldn't move, posed a serious threat. So yes, I do take care of getting officials for the games. As for the Oakland game, which I believe was played in Xenia, Ohio, that game, and I told the club president in early summer, I didn't know anybody over in Xenia, Ohio to cover that game. They would have to use their connections to find officials for that game. I did end up reaching out to a couple of people to see if they would do it. Nobody wanted to travel from Columbus for the price that they were paying. I contacted some people in Xenia, didn't hear back from anybody as far as wanting to do the game. So again, I did what I could do, but also let the club know way up front in early August that finding officials for that game in Xenia was going to be pretty hard, if next to impossible.
A lot of things here on this campus is done by email. That's one of the things. You're not going to get a text message. You're not going to get a phone call. You're going to get an email. And they tell us all the time, check your emails. Your professors email you. As a business, as a professional, you should check your email. And that goes for the people on our side and people on the Rec Sports side. It was a communication lack on both parts, I feel like. And there was people that could have definitely done a lot better job communication on both sides.
George got an email that said, hey, we didn't get refs like 3 hours before a game. I'm not really sure what to do about that. Like, how do you handle that situation? I guess the only way is to do it how we did and have the coaches ref, but I don't know. That spelled trouble from the beginning.
And that was a mess. I never thought of being a referee in my life, and I'll never do it again. I didn't anticipate when I got out of the car that day that I'd have to ref that game.
Obviously, fellas, we're going to be playing a little differently, but we're going to play game conditions. We're going to run 12-minute quarters instead of 15-minute quarters. Try to limit any potential for serious injury, whatnot. But we're going to do the coin toss just like it is.
In the beginning, both teams are a little lackadaisical because they know that Oakland had already knew they won, so they weren't playing as intense. We weren't playing as intense. Then the second half rolls around.
What really started it off was that early whistle blowing. And that was probably the one thing that we did not like. And that's what really started, that was basically like the fire that was lit.
Why is there a whistle?
Why are you blowing the whistle?
Don't blow the whistle.
There was a flag in the end zone or no flag in the end zone on, I think, a 2-point conversion for us that Oakland wanted to be a flag, pass interference. It's just, there's no refs there, so there's no one to pull people off a ball carrier. So plays, they last longer than they should, and that's when emotions start flaring, people start getting, pushy.
They'll say we got this amount of yards. They say they didn't. You can't really determine what's a holding, what's not. Can't tell what's pass interference or not, or you couldn't determine, was no sportsmanlike conduct or not.
And if something doesn't go your way, you might look to blame someone. And if it's because another coach called a penalty, then it's an ethical issue. Did he call the penalty because it was a penalty, or did he call the penalty because he doesn't want me to win?
Hey, hold up. Hey, we're not gonna fucking lose. I'm tired of everybody saying, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. Who are their fucking friends? Do you even know any of their names? No. So what's the point of being your friend? Hurt somebody. Try and hit somebody hard. Hit them in the mouth. Every time I hit somebody, I'm scraping at their ball. I'm clicking at their fucking arm and shit. Be mean out there. That's why we play football.
Hey, be fucking serious. Look, when this shit breaks out on the fucking Facebook and all that crock of shit that they do, it's gonna say 19-15 or something, and then they're gonna have all this interpretation of we could have beaten them if it was legit. Don't leave any fucking interpretation. 70-15. That's what we're going for. So fucking do that. Hey, no refs, blah blah blah. Fuck that shit. We beat you 17-15. We shit on your fucking day. You came from that piss ass state up north. You drove fucking 6 hours for nothing, and we whipped your fucking ass in the cornfield. That's what fucking happens today. Let's fucking get that done. Let's go. Do it.
Fuck him up, Ryan. Did he just turn his arm too off?
And then that's when everything just legit just went up to flames, and it was like a big giant fireball just rolling downhill. When he ran on the sideline and flipped everybody off, I wanted to pull a Woody Hayes and just club the kid, to get up to him and just knock him out, because that was uncalled for. Just taunting our sideline, but then and for us to not have refs, what you expect? He's going to take advantage of that, but still, show some type of class.
It got really chippy, more than I had ever seen a game that I had been a part of get chippy, especially towards the end of the game. It was tied, and I remember Oakland, they were trying to score and win the game. And I think under a minute left, we had them stopped right around the 40-50 yard line. They were going to have to throw up a Hail Mary. And
their quarterback's just talking trash.
He decided that he wanted to talk crap to our players, specifically one of our linebackers, TJ, and our running back, Chellie. And, words that he said didn't go over quite so well with them.
Yeah, the quarterback felt like, he was just that player, and he was don't get me wrong, I recognize great players, you know what I'm saying? If you're a good player for your team, I'm not going to take that away from you. But at the same time, you're not going to come at any of my teammates sideways, and I'm going to defend my teammates no matter what the issue is, you know what I'm saying? We're a team, we're a band of brothers, and we're going to stick together, and that's what and he came at one of my teammates while they were on the defensive side of the ball, a little too reckless, and I definitely stepped in and intervened. Me being the character that I am, I'm going to talk a little trash back.
Two players get into each other's faces, and, as an Ohio State Buckeye, I've got my teammates back. So does everyone else on our sideline.
I look out there, and there's guys getting ready to throw punches, and that would obviously have never happened if officials had been a part of that football game.
But luckily, the head coach just called the game because that was just ridiculous. Like it was going to erupt to a fight, probably coaches against coaches and players against players. So it was better off you just ended the game and just moved on.
A lot of their players were apologetic for their quarterback and their coach. And I thought that was, a really interesting experience to see, the type of dichotomy that their team had, between, the players and their head coach and, superstar quarterback.
If there's ever a problem with getting refs again, I don't think that game should be played because I think that's just dangerous. I hope our team understands next year that we got to go out and you got to smack Oakland in the face. I mean, I don't like Oakland. I almost don't like Oakland as much as I don't like Miami, and I really don't like Miami.
I joined ROTC because joining the Army is the only thing I've ever wanted to do in my life. And when I was a senior in high school, they offered me a 4-year scholarship to Ohio State. And I pretty much signed away my life at about 18 years old in a few days. And I got to campus and I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do with the rest of my life from day one. I started playing football when I was in 4th grade at Fort Lee, Virginia. I didn't play in middle school, though, because my school didn't have a team. And I started playing up again in high school. I played 2 years on JV and 2 years on varsity, including 1 European championship. I just wanted to compete again. That's why I played club football. I really missed playing high school sports and just going out and kind of battling it out, and I felt like I kind of lost something when I didn't play a competitive sport. I spent all spring and summer lifting and running. I knew that I was tired of being a lineman because that's what I played all through elementary and high school, and I decided that I needed to get slimmer, get faster, and I wanted to go play like a linebacker tight end spot. I think those workouts were able to transfer onto the field. I definitely saw myself as a lot faster and stronger, and I felt a lot more confident when I stepped on the field in August than when I had left in May. Balancing ROTC with school, life, club football, work, it's really difficult because the ROTC day can start as early as 5:30 in the morning sometimes, physical training, or PT as we call it, going out to do labs and learn a lot of different stuff. It takes a toll on you getting up early. And you go to classes all day, and then I have another job where I work down at the Jerome Schotten Student Center as a security guard, and that goes till 11 at night. So between going to practices, sometimes till midnight, waking up at 4 in the morning so I can get to ROTC, it's a lot to juggle. Club football meant a lot to me. This year it was an awesome group of guys, and I try and put my heart and soul into everything I do. My dad always taught me, if you don't do something 100%, what's the point in doing it at all? When you have a love for something like I love football, you want to give it everything you have. And so I felt like it was my job when I committed to the team to show up every day and give them 110% no matter what my personal life was like.
Well, you know, historically, we have a pretty violent rivalry with Michigan, and I think that carries through all levels of sports and any level, or at this point, really any level of human interaction. I think if somebody from Ohio State talks to somebody from Michigan, there's kind of this animosity between them.
I went up to Detroit, Michigan to go visit a friend from Germany. Within 4 hours of arriving in Detroit, my hotel room got robbed. I just hate that whole state. It's just an ugly, ugly place.
You don't like that school. You see the maize and blue, you're supposed to get angry. You're not supposed to like them at all. Whether it's the varsity team playing Michigan and Ann Arbor, or it's the club team playing Michigan Flint. A lot of guys in that game, in that Michigan game, had to play both ways because we only took, I think, a max of 18 guys. And a lot of guys, like George, our team captain, our president, I had to go up to him in the pregame and I said, hey, we only have 2 receivers from our roster that are here. If I want to go 4 wide receivers, I don't have guys. And I went up to him and I went up to Zach Priestman. Without batting an eye, they looked at me and they said, okay, let's do it. What do you need me to do? And I think that really speaks to the guys who were there for this team, the guys who really put in the time and the effort. That really speaks to their character.
To kind of know going into that game that it's your last game, you got to bring a different attitude. I think the guys that knew that it was going to be their last game played up to their potential. It was great to see some of the kids that I've gotten to know over the years step up in that leadership role and kind of show what type of a player they really are.
I got jumped on by a defensive tackle and I lost feeling in my legs for a few seconds there, but I hated being on the sideline, and I hated seeing that we went down another player.
Caelan became one of my better friends off the field this season, and he really gave it his all year. And it hurt to see him go down. It stinks when a teammate and a close friend goes down like that. You know, after he got checked out and it turned out he was okay, he wasn't good enough to play. He still wanted to go out and play.
When I ended high school football, I did not go out on my own terms. And my concern with the Flint game when I got injured was that I wouldn't be able to go out on my own terms. At least if you go out on your own terms, you have that kind of closure, and right now I still feel like I don't have it.
The last play that I had was that block for Matt, that touchdown block, and for me that means so much. And that's just how I play though. And I feel like honestly every one of you can have that mentality right now because you have nothing to lose. For a lot of you, this is your last game, and this is the last time that you're ever going to play football, the last time that you're ever going to put pads on in your life. What do you have to lose? You'll remember how you finish. You may not remember how you started. You may not remember how things changed. You probably will forget your stats and all that, but you will remember how you finished, and your last game you will remember that. So I wanted to just say a couple quotes that I found compelling, and hopefully you'll feel the same way. It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. A day may come when the courage of man fails, but it is not this day. He who says can and he who says cannot are both usually correct. Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year, but eventually it will subside, and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever. Listen up, guys. Offensive line, James is your most prized possession. You will not let him fall the second half. I don't care if you don't know your position, just protect it. That's all you have to do. Okay, special teams, field position. When I gave a halftime speech, my goal was to motivate the players in a way that no matter what happened, under any circumstances, not even in just in that game, but in any game, that you always make sure to finish. As long as you do your job until the end, you will be successful. And I think I wanted to make that clear to the players, and that I would be behind them the whole way. You know, I still am. I support them in everything that they do, and I think that I would love to see each and every one of them walk off the field and say, you know what, I left every ounce of energy that I have on that field.
That type of interaction and bond that you build is something that isn't really understood by people that aren't part of that type of the people don't actually take part of that.
We weren't able to come out victorious in that game, but we left the field that day knowing that the guys who we finished the season with were the type of guys that you want to be on the football field with, the type of guys that you want to fight for. And I think ultimately that's what we took from that game.
Hey, George, come break it down, man.
Let's go, be
One last time.
Let's do it.
We got any Buckeyes in here?
We in here.
We got any Buckeyes in here?
We in here. Oh!
Bucks on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Bucks.
Stretch out, let's go.